Hello everyone, and welcome to CAD Builder version 1.3.2. This update brings some exciting new features, so let's briefly go over those. The first one will be the multi-room capability. So if you'll notice at the top of your design menu, next to the plan view button, you have a new button called Rooms. And this is where you can go to create new rooms, manage them, delete them, rename them. And so if you click on Manage Rooms, here's your list. By default, you always have one room present. If you need to create another, you click on the plus button and name it. You can also make it as a copy from the selected room if you would like. The pencil button will allow you to rename it. Delete button will allow you to delete them. And how does this work? Well, once you go into a room, you drop in your walls, you drop in your cabinets, and it has its own 3D view. When you switch to another room, it will have a separate room, a separate 3D view, allowing you to have multiple rooms without needing to manually draw additional walls. And because they are treated separately within your 3D view, it means the software can handle a lot more cabinets in a single design file. Now these rooms are also going to appear different in your reports as well as your cut list, so it's fully integrated into the functionality. So for instance, if I go over to the cut list module, on the left, I have my kitchen items, laundry items, walk-in closet items, and I can uncheck these room by room if I wanted to take those out of the cut list, allowing me to, well, for instance, let's say I wanted to cut this house cabinets, and I would need it only to cut the kitchen items at first, and I just check those on. I can send them to my CNC, ready to be cut, and next time I come along, I can do maybe the laundry and then the walk-in closet. The same applies within the reports module. So if you head to the reports, for instance, here's my door list within the kitchen. Here's my door list for laundry. If I just check this button, I can see the door list for the entire job. Another feature within this update is the ability to output your reports in .csv format. So if you'll notice on the left side here in the reports module, up top, there's the export to CSV. If you check that, CAD will then ask you where you want to save this. And once you do, you can open it directly within Excel or Numbers or whatever other spreadsheet program that you might use, allowing you to then take that data and use it as you see fit. Maybe make automatic orders from there, or maybe organize it into a report that more matches what you're looking for. You can do anything with that exported data. Another new feature within 1.3.2 is the individual part editor, which allows you to put toolpaths on individual parts. For instance, here is my bathroom. And if I were to select this standard cabinet, which I made into a vanity, I can edit its wireframe. Now let's say, for instance, I need my CNC to drill some hole, to pre-drill a hole into the bottom shelf here for some pipes, and maybe another hole over here. I can select that bottom within the case parts, and within its attributes, there is the edit part control button. When you enter that menu, it's going to bring you to this screen. It's very similar to the shape editor, and you're dealing with the overall shape of the part. On the left side, you have a list of actions you could do, and on the right, you have the operations list. So for instance, this bottom here is from the perspective viewed from the outside. So this would be the front of the bottom, this would be the back, this would be the left, this would be the right. If I wanted to bore a hole, I enable the bore hole action, and then I target where I want it to appear. Let's say a little bit to the left side towards the back. I can then select that hole and look at its parameters on the right, where I can change the position relative to the bottom left corner of the bottom panel, position X, position Y of the center of the hole. I can change the diameter, I can change the depth. If I wanted to go all the way through the panel, then I just select the through checkbox. If not, then I select whether it's on the front side of that bottom panel or on the back side, depending on what the material orientation is. Backside operations being shown with dotted lines instead. So if I make it through, of course, we can see it from both sides. I can also do this with grooves. So I can take a groove, make a groove into the bottom, and change its properties. This is probably going to be useful more for the top constructions. We'll cover an example shortly. You can then take these toolpaths and delete them, undo them, redo them. You can zoom in, zoom out of this menu. It's very similar to the shape editor. So it's going to have some familiar controls. Well, I'll remove that groove, save this edit, and now we can see that hole is being drilled into the bottom. Well, let's say I'm using some top mount sink into this cabinet, and I want this top mount sink to be mounted onto the full top of the cabinet. So I want some full top of a cutout. Well, I'll go to my case parts and enable a full top. And let's say I want a rectangular section here. I select my top, edit part, and I'll do this using the cut groove action. And I'll just do some rough measurements here. I'll do 21 to 21.5 from both sides. And then I can select the groove and make it, let's say, 21 inches wide. And maybe move it back a little bit from the front of the top. And then I'll enable it to also be all the way through, giving me the cutout that I need within the top. And again, this just enables for the CNC to do some pre-assembled cutouts that I might need for that specific part without it having to deal with the joinery section or having to do some special. I can just directly drop it on top of that piece. Another exciting new feature is the capability to pre-make light dado tracks. So if you go to your construction connection section, you will see a new joint called the light dado template. Let's create a joint from this, what we call light dado. And then if we go to its parameters, we can specify the width of the dado. Let's do some, depth of the dado, we'll do 1/4 inch. Width, we'll keep it at 3/4. And then we can assign some offset from the front of the shelf where it will appear. We'll keep it at 2. Some side offset, we'll keep it at 0 to make it all the way through. And then we'll select where it's going to appear, and we're going to say towards the bottom. So the idea is you're making some dados that can host your light strips on your shelves, be it your bottom shelves, your adjustable or fixed shelves, or your top shelves. So once you specify the connection, you go to the construction cabinet. We'll select the trial frame butt joint full overlay for now, and you'll see a new tab here called Additional Processing. And this is where you tell it where to apply said dado. So for instance, I'm going to apply it to the bottom of my wall cabinets. Here's my light dado connection. Maybe I'll apply it to the bottom of my full tops as well. So I'll select my full top, light dado connection, applied. And now I can view this by going back to my design and checking the wireframe of one of the wall cabinets. And turning on the show processing allows me to see the dado track created onto the top and the bottom, which saves me from having to come in here and go to the individual parts and placing some toolpath manually within the part editor. All right, so if you have it as a construction method, it will apply to all the cabinets where this construction method is used. Like for instance, if I were to change it to some other construction method, standard overlay, it will no longer be there. So if you do have light strips installed onto your shelves, make some construction methods for your normal cabinets, make some construction methods for your light strip cabinets. Speaking of CNC, the last feature that comes with 1.3.2, last major project, is the ability to natively host negative coordinates within our CNC output, so that you no longer have to do work coordinate offsets or maybe change the overall origin of your CNC setup if you have an unusual coordinate system. That's about it for 1.3.2. Thank you all for your time, and we'll see you in future videos. Bye-bye.